Hey guys, it's Claire. I know I haven't made a video in a month or so, been busy with life. Today we are going to try something different. I will be trying to make an audio version of the book What Would Wednesday Do? Some of you may know that I love the Addams Family because of my intro.
I've arranged a little surprise, my dearest. I hope you like it.
Oh, Gomez. It's dark, it's depressing, it's desolate.
It says,
It's a dream.
come, Caramia.
Let's get started with Chapter 1. Introduction. As we make the treacherous journey through life and death, there will come many a time when we will need guidance. Seeking advice from trusted family members, empathetic friends, and wise mentors will ease our burdens and give us a beacon of light to help us down our path. Occasionally, we may not want the advice of someone with such noble intentions. Sometimes we seek not the light to illuminate the path ahead, but instead some instructions on how best to enjoy the shadows. This is when to turn to the most severe little girl in the history of pop culture, Wednesday Addams. While perhaps not known for her moral fiber, Wednesday has bestowed advice to those around her in many documented instances. From teaching Lurch how to dance in the 1960s television show to providing investigative tips in the Netflix hit Wednesday, our ghastly girl has offered guidance for years. Perpetually beloved outcasts, the Addams family as a whole has a strong sense of identity. They may not make choices deemed traditional by the outside world, but they are guided by their strong inner compasses, which are, of course, ruled by darkness. If you want advice that is perhaps outside the box, an Addams will give you encouragement that can help you navigate the world while remaining true to your inner self. Not all advice will pertain to you directly, but will inspire you to begin thinking about the best ways to snap your existence into the life of your dreams or nightmares. While Wednesday's actual advice may often be to devour your enemies, we have toned down some of the more murderous intent to better suit your day-to-day journeys. Of course, some treacherous tips might sneak through. We implore you to use your own discretion regarding revenge. If all else fails, remember the Addams family creed. Sic gorgimus allos subjectados nun, or, we gladly feast on those who would subdue us. Now let's dig in. Which Wednesday? Several iterations of Wednesday Addams have manifested throughout the years. Wednesday first appeared as a grim little girl in the Addams Family comics by Charles Addams. The comics ran in the New Yorker from 1932 until Addams' death in 1993, and featured an unusual Gothic family that served as a satirized take on the ideal American family. The individual members of the family were unnamed until Charles Addams named them for the television show starting in 1964. The original Wednesday of the comics was a macabre but seemingly content child who enjoyed making sure the fire was well lit on Christmas Eve in case Santa came down, viewed cemeteries as a family, admired her deadly but witty mother Morticia. The comic's popularity led to the creation of the sitcom in the 1960s, which was intended to be more kooky and zany and less scary. This is where we get a lot of our classic Addams Family details. The family's names and characters like Cousin It and Thing were created by Charles Addams for the show. One of the comic panels shows the iconic "Beware of Thing" was Addams suggested it be a disembodied head that traveled through the house on pulleys. That idea was discarded for a few reasons regarding taste, and they compromised on a disembodied hand. Another fun note: Thing was unusually played by Ted Cassidy, who also played Lurch. He usually portrayed Thing as a right hand, but occasionally would use his left hand just to see if anyone would notice. In general, the family was toned down to be silly rather than frightening, with the producers wanting a less evil approach to the characters. Wednesday was perhaps the happiest in the iteration, with a fairly cheerful nature even as her passions, such as raising spiders and guillotining dolls, remained deliciously macabre. The 1991 and 1993 Barry Sonnenfeld films returned Wednesday to her more grim nature, as well as added her deadpan wit and overly murderous intentions. This version, portrayed flawlessly by Christina Ricci, would become the standard for future adaptations, with Wednesday often being the standout favorite of the frightening family. Animated television adaptations followed, as well as a Broadway musical and 2019 CGI animated film. While the comics, original television show, and 90s film depict Wednesday as absolutely content in her place within the Addams home, many of the adaptations that followed explore Wednesday's desire to seek out a new place for herself. Perhaps she did find a spot all to herself in the 2020 to Netflix adaptation, Wednesday. Here, titular character is reimagined as a stoic aspiring author sent to a deliciously gothic school for outcasts. This version of Wednesday, as imagined by the talented Jenna Ortega, finds herself solving mysteries, befriending and battling monsters in turn, and finding a way to remain true to herself while finding her own path. Why has Wednesday captured so many of our hearts? Besides her impeccable style and quick wit, she also provides a departure from tradition. For so many of our cultural touchstones, our little girl characters are inarguably good. While they may be a little mischievous, out-popular little girls live in what is appropriate. As they grow, they learn lessons taught to them by the older and wiser that make them more palatable to the public. Many of their unusual quirks and hobbies are stamped out of them as they grow and change, often into an acceptable love interest. Wednesday is an enigmatic little girl, and remains so. She is allowed to be dark and strange, and we celebrate her for it. While many little girls have to learn to navigate the world of polite pastels, Wednesday remains dark and dreary. She remains unapologetically herself, and her family encourages her and loves her just as she is. For many little girls who saw themselves as witches, Wednesday never loses her magic. This book seeks to combine many aspects of all these Wednesdays, as well as some input from her more macabre family members. While each adaptation has a unique take on the character, every Wednesday features a capable young woman with a lot of power within herself. We hope to lend you some of her power to you. Agony Aunts. This book features a collection of letters from people seeking advice similar to an advice column in a newspaper or magazine. For hundreds of years, anonymous letter writers have sent in questions to a columnist, often colloquially called an agony aunt, as the Addamses are all experts in agony. It seems only suitable to look to them for advice. Because Wednesday Addams is so busy solving murders and committing crimes, we have taken it upon ourselves to thoroughly research every piece of Addams Family media and apply our expertise to solving the problems presented by the letter writers. We present here letters from various perplexed citizens, and our responses as informed by the Addams Family. We intended to write responses as close to as how we believe Wednesday and her family would respond. However, our lawyers have insisted on providing additional notes in order to keep our advice legal and more moral and not enticing of riots. We reluctantly agreed to those notes, though they may temper some of the efficiency of our Gothic guidance. Enjoy! If you have any questions you, yourself, would like to ask us, whisper your predicament into the nearest crystal ball and be sure to read your tea leaves for a response. End of chapter.